What's up, Gamecock fans? How we feeling on this Sunday aftermath? The aftermath of what we watched yesterday. 27-point lead at halftime just vanished in the second half versus Texas A&M. Beamer's hurt. The coaches are hurt. The players are hurt. The fans are hurt. Everyone's hurt, according to Beamer in his press conference last night. And we're going to get into that and talk about Shane Beamer, press conference, the team, the loss, the almost unthinkable. South Carolina's now the only team since 2004 to give up a 27-point lead and lose a football game. 2004. Think about that, guys. 21 years. No one's given up a 27-point lead and lost a football game. 21 years. That was before a lot of our players were even born. A lot of our players were not even born the last time that happened in the SEC. That a team gave up 27 points. But, hey, it's the largest comeback in Texas A&M history. Largest comeback, and let's let some of this stuff sink in. We're going to get into how clownish the two clowns from the A&M game yesterday. Yes, there was two clowns. Largest comeback win in FBS this season. Not surprising. Largest comeback win in an SEC conference game, like I said, in the last 21 years. Largest home halftime deficit any ranked versus unranked team has come back to do. I mean, there's so many stories behind what we could talk about and how we feel, but first I want to start on the first clown, the police officer, the Texas Highway Patrol. And look, I don't ever beat up law enforcement. I appreciate everything they do to try to keep people safe, but the guy just running down the tunnel on purpose to elbow some of our players, including my nephew, as I call him, Oscar Attaway the third. Big O and I were talking about it in some text yesterday. Big Oscar. Pretty much that's a situation where take off the badge, take off the uniform, and that police officer probably gets one-on-one ass kicking. The dude you're picking on, 6'5", 225 pounds, Mr. Police Officer. Probably not a guy you want to pick a fight with. Never mind, you have a gun and a badge, so you can do that. Just an awful look. And I'm sure Sankey and the SEC, I'm pretty sure Greg Sankey made a phone call over to Texas A&M. Probably not much Texas A&M could do about it, other than what they did. Kicked the officer out. The Attorney General for Texas said they were going to look into the situation. I don't think they fired the officer, and I don't think he probably should be fired. But he should never work around kids again. No high school football. No anything to do with a sport. That guy needs to be banned for life. And you check his history. What is he done shit like this in the past? But the guy made a mistake. He did. He made a mistake. And I don't know. You put on a uniform. You take an oath. You gotta contain yourself, man. I know you're an A&M fan and you're working the game, but I mean you're the guy that's not supposed to lose control. Can you imagine if it was a hostile situation? This guy might really lose it. So I don't know. You got to review it. Should he lose his job? I just said maybe he doesn't supposed to lose his job, but it depends on his history and. Any sporting event, anything that has anything to do with kids or anyone around, I don't think that guy needs to be anywhere around that, in my opinion. And that's extra money. These highway patrolmen do this kind of stuff to make extra money, police officers and that type of stuff. But man, that's a really, really, really bad look. Now the other clown that didn't get kicked out the game, let's talk about that clown. But before we get into that, I want to tell you guys I really, really appreciate you guys. We have over 10,000 hours in views of live streams, videos, and all that type stuff. And I couldn't do it without all you guys that like and subscribe and share the channel. It's always appreciated. It's always humbling to see things like that, and it puts a smile on my face because this is a fan channel. I have a different opinion. A lot of fans out there have a different opinion than I have, and it's all welcome here. This channel is about your voice, not my voice. Where a lot of other channels do not do that. Here's how we see it, and if you have a voice and they disagree with it, they get snappy towards it, but not here, man. Not here. This, unless it's just something completely off the wall. There's some touchy subjects that I don't like around my channel, and I'll just let you know. I ain't having it. But anyway, we're back hurting. Let's talk about the pain of the South Carolina fan right now. Our coach is out cheerleading going into the half like we've already won the football game. How embarrassing is that? It's all over every media outlet, social media outlet. Comments he made after the first quarter. Well, we beat this team by 24 last year in the second half. Remember, the game was tied at halftime. South Carolina took over in the second half. Well, yeah, it came back this year. South Carolina was winning at halftime, and we gave it away. And how did we give it away? Well, Texas A&M gave us the first half. Let's just be honest about what we saw. A&M made a lot of mistakes. Reed made a lot of mistakes throwing the football. A&M dropped a lot of passes. They missed field goals. South Carolina got some interceptions, but also dropped some interceptions. There was opportunities for that A&M gave South Carolina that we didn't take advantage of. And as a team like South Carolina, you got 3 wins. Every opportunity you get, you have to take advantage of. This is not the first time this year we've seen our DBs dropping interceptions. Now, I get not every one of those interceptions were like in a guy's chest, but we have seen this year some DBs for South Carolina get hit in the chest with what should be interceptions, and it's dropped. But that's why they're DBs and not wide receivers, I guess. A&M, you got to give them credit. They went in at halftime. They didn't panic. They came back out. They ran their game plan. They're confident about their game plan, and I think that's one thing South Carolina is not. Our defense just, in the most crucial situations this year, this defense has kind of let us down if you think about it. 3 times this year we've blown halftime leads with Missouri and Alabama, A&M, and it's frustrating. Should Beamer get fired? There's a big question now. A lot of people that were give Beamer another year now turned on Shane Beamer. Now they want him gone. After yesterday, some eyes are opening up that he's just not the guy. A month or so ago, I did a video where I was kind of comparing what Shane Beamer's done versus Muschamp versus Steve Spurrier. Now, Steve Spurrier going into year 6, which is what Beamer will do next year, made it to a SEC championship. And I said, Beamer's not doing that. This is not a SEC type. We're going to compete for the SEC championship next year. And if we're not competing for championships, then why keep a guy? You look at Beamer, and if you don't think, I don't want to hear this nonsense, well, who else will come to South Carolina? There's 8 million reasons you could go out and find a good coach. 8 million reasons, and it's called a paycheck. Coordinators are making money at South Carolina, guys. They've been getting raises. They've been getting extensions. You think, well, Beamer came in really cheap. Well, not anymore. We're overpaying for a special teams coordinator and a recruiting guy. Our staff are great recruiters, not great developers. It's obvious. We see it. He hangs on to coaches like Teasley and Greg Atkins, where the offensive line has just been miserable for years. And he all of a sudden, just in his mind, he thinks those guys are going to turn it around. Well, it didn't work. They didn't. So you get rid of Teasley, and you're all after the fans. I made a change. You're all after the reporters. Well, I made a change. What else you want? There's no other change coming at this time. Well, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you're firing Mike Shula. A change you should have made back then. Then this past Tuesday in your press conference, you're going to push back at the fans that, oh no, my offense coordinator hires have not been bad. Your best offensive coordinator hire left you overnight with his bag packed. Mike Bobo was the best offensive coordinator hire you made, and the man looked at you and said, this ain't going to work. I'm going to go on to Georgia to take an analyst role. He left being an offensive coordinator and working for Shane Beamer to go to Georgia and be an analyst. What does that tell you? What does that say? That tells you that the coaches around, the older coaches that have been around the sport, has no respect for Shane Beamer. They don't. They don't trust him. They don't want to work for him. They don't. So what do you say? Who's Shane Beamer going to hire as an offensive coordinator? You better go get an older guy that was willing to work for you. Maybe, people got all over me about the Bobby Petrino thing, but hell, that makes the most sense. Because you can't get involved in the offense, Shane Beamer. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Sorry to cuss on a Sunday. Shane Beamer doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing on the offensive side or the defensive side. He is a special teams coordinator or a tight ends coach or a recruiter. And he's recruited every fan to buy into his bullshit. He recruited Ray Tanner to buy into his bullshit. Cheap ass old Ray Tanner. Ray Tanner was so tight he squeaks when he walks. Look at his coaching hires. He hasn't had a successful coaching hire yet in a major sport at South Carolina. Not one. He didn't hire Don Staley. He didn't hire Steve Spurrier. He hasn't done it. And people say, well, South Carolina can't do it. Why would anyone want to come to South Carolina? 8 million reasons. $350 million in renovations on the stadium. Everything in an ops building you could ask for. You know why? Because Shane Beamer told us that, right? I look around at South Carolina and there's no reason we can't win. We have everything that everyone else has. So why can't we do it? Well, answer that, Shane Beamer. Why can't we do it? Everybody wants to give Shane Beamer credit. Well, he had a 9-win season. So did Will Muschamp. Y'all wanted to chop his damn head off. People still arguing about it over the Muschamp thing. Like, Muschamp has a better record against the SEC than Shane Beamer. 16-24, Muschamp 17-22. What are we arguing about? Well, he couldn't beat Clemson. Two of those Clemson teams won national championships and the rest made playoffs. Nobody was beating those Clemson teams. I don't. Shane Beamer. You can go back and watch the tape. A lot of the players are going to be sick about plays we could have made, didn't make. They're going to be sick. Well, Shane Beamer, welcome to the effing club, bro. Because every fan that watched that game yesterday was sick by the end of it. Sick. You don't give a shit about the fans. You don't even talk about the fans. It's about the kids and it's about the coaches. You don't care that you embarrass this fan base. You don't give two shits. Because you attack us every time you get an opportunity. Turn off your social media, Shane Beamer, because it's horse garbage. Well, how do you know it's horse garbage if your ass ain't on it? And if your skin is that thin, you don't need to be a SEC head coach. It's as easy as just deleting the app on your phone. Oh, I got to have the app for my recruiting. Nah, you can pick up the phone and call recruits. You ain't got to be on Twitter recruiting. That's childish. Childish. But we know our coach is childish. Hot dogs, kicking coolers, cheerleading. But your recruiting pitch don't work on South Carolina fans no more. Because it only gets you so far and you got to put it on the field and prove it week after week, and you ain't done it. The most talented team that South Carolina's seen in forever at the beginning of this year. And it wasn't just the South Carolina fans saying that. The national media said it. The so-called knowers of college football. You come in ranked. You move up to 10th And you right now sitting on 3 wins and may not get another one. Nothing looks organized. You look confused. I even said, you are out in the middle of the ocean with a set of swimmies and you have lost your way. You have not. People got on me last week, or brought up other coaches, and I talked about Shane Beamer not crawling before he got to walk. Well, you don't know what he got to do. Somebody brought up, one of my friends brought up Kirby. Well, Kirby Smart didn't, he didn't have to go through that. Yeah, he did. Valdosta State. Kirby Smart was a grad assistant and dropped all the way back down to Valdosta State as a DB coach and then a defensive coordinator before he went back up into the power conferences, the big schools. They crawled. They learned. Beamer hasn't done that. These young fans think they know a lot. You don't. You haven't seen it. You haven't been through life. I ain't going to preach life to you either. If you're going to go through life being a dummy, just keep walking into brick walls and be a dummy. Beamer said we were not conservative in the second half. When you get in a situation and you panic, or you get in a pressure situation, a lot of times you resort back to old habits. South Carolina resorted back in the second half because they had no answers yesterday to what we've done all year. And we saw it in the play calling. You get a 4th and 1, your hand off to Fuller. The guy just blows us up in the middle, and we know we ain't got a center worth of shit. And we're trying to run up the middle behind the center on a 4th and 1. Texas A&M has seen this so many times on watching tape on South Carolina. They knew exactly what we were going to do by the alignment that you put out there. And you say sometimes, well, you just got to win the one-on-one battles, and you got to do. Hey, Texas A&M had the same situation. They clear everything out. 4th and 12. Their quarterback runs for it and gets it. We can't get a 4th and 1. They got a 4th and 12. They had other 4th downs. They ran their quarterback and got first downs. But no, we have a 6'3", 245-pound quarterback. Let's hand it to a 5'8", 200-pound running back. No creativity to it, no trying to get to the outside. I've yelled and screamed about that play numerous times, and we continuously do it over and over. We just failed on 4th downs. I don't know, but we weren't conservative. I sat here and counted during my live stream yesterday how many yards off our DBs were from their wide receivers. 8. 8-yard cushion, and they tore us up with those short, quick passes. Because, and they just picked on Judge Collier. They just picked on our DB room. When do you call a timeout and say, hey, you went into halftime, made 0 adjustments, thought you were going to win the game the same way you won the first half, and you fell flat on your damn face? And it's time for a new regime. I don't even care. Everybody talks about the defense we had last year, and we need to hang on to Clayton White. I almost don't even care if he's around. I don't. Something has to be done. This supposedly culture that Shane Beamer built, there's no culture at South Carolina like this. The culture right now is a losing culture, a negative culture. There's a rift between the head coach of this football team and the fan base because the head football coach at the University of South Carolina can't do nothing but throw shit back at the fan that he shouldn't even be reading. Right? You're the head coach. You're the CEO. Why are you out here reading this if you think it's all bullshit anyway? Do you really have your head that far up in the sky and your nose turned up that you think everything that we're saying is horse garbage? Because the only person that talked about horse shit last week was you. Because that was in your press conference. You're more worried about where the horses shit at Texas A&M than winning a damn football game. You've been more worried about Netflix talking about your wife's cookies than winning football games. Wait, this ain't no damn home economics class. Nobody gives a shit. This ain't personal, Shane Beamer. I don't know you personally. But you ain't winning football games. at the University of South Carolina. And I would say the same thing. Lamar Paris, you don't win basketball games, your ass needs to go. Paul Maneri, you don't win baseball games, they can put you back in the senior citizens home they found you in and give you a cup of Jell-O. This shit is about winning. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to hug and love on one another. It's about winning. Can you imagine Shane Beamer if he was trained in our military? Oh, don't shoot the enemy. You run up and you hug them. You hug them. And you cheer for them to turn them around and make them a better enemy. You don't have to be an enemy. We'll just love each other. In the meantime, that guy shoots your ass and kill you, Shane Beamer. Come on, dog. Total offense. What a story this drive will be if we won the last drive of the game. Boy, there's a story behind that last drive, ain't it? Got the second one? Second two? They tried to throw the ball, go backwards. Tried to throw the ball again, go backwards. 4th and 16. Our quarterback decides he's going to try to run for a 4th and 16 instead of just throw it up in the air. Hope for what's best. Either somebody makes a play on the ball, you get a penalty, pass interference, anything that could have helped you. The one thing you couldn't do was run out of bounds. We talked about it last year in the Alabama game when South Carolina went for the 2-point conversion and Lenore Sellers just threw it out of bounds. The one thing you couldn't do was throw it out of bounds. It was your only shot. Only thing you couldn't do was throw it out of bounds. The only thing you couldn't do yesterday was run the damn ball out of bounds or take another sack. The one thing you couldn't do in that drive was take any sacks. All you had to do was get a field goal. So yes, you're right, Shane Beamer. The story of that drive will be talked about for a long time. It's going to be talked about all week this week. I don't even give a damn if Coastal's coming. At the end of the year, this story is still going to be talked about. This game, you have put your name in history books, Shane Beamer, of the worst collapse in South Carolina football history. And I'm not just talking about losing to Texas A&M. I'm talking about taking the talent that you had returning from last year in this whole season. This football team, epic collapse from last year. Everything you're returning your quarterback, he should be better. You're bringing back experience at wide receiver, should be better. The only thing that should have been shaky on this team was the defensive line and the linebackers, and hell, they really haven't played that bad. I can't even look at them guys and bitch. They played their ass off yesterday in the first half, and they got their ass just worn out in the second because you couldn't do anything offensively. You went out and you brought in a bunch of offensive linemen that nobody else wanted, obviously, and they ain't no good. You haven't developed the 4-star and 5-star linemen that we have consistently. I can't even look at a wide receiver and say we've developed a really great wide receiver. I mean, Harbor's doing what Harbor should have been doing, but y'all wouldn't get him the football in the situations where he could do it. You ran 8,000 jet sweeps yesterday, like Texas A&M wasn't going to pick up on that eventually. So your whole added playbook to what we did before was a jet sweep and a little razzle-dazzle pass play. So we added trick plays, not real plays. The real plays was still the same bullshit we've seen all year. Oh, Shane Beamer. The I don't knows when asked questions just shows why you shouldn't be the head coach at the University of South Carolina. If I knew what was going on with the football team, I would have known through Missouri, Alabama, A&M. I would know why we can't finish football games and win them. If you don't know why we're losing football games and what we're doing to lose football games, you can't answer why you can't win them, right? Shane Beamer, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why we're not winning, dude. You suck. You suck. The coaching sucks. The kids are in bad positions. We got a quarterback that's so shell shocked from the Shula days, he doesn't even know where he's coming and growing. I mean, accuracy way out. Even with the 27-point lead going to halftime, Lenore Sellers was 9 of 19. He's 500, 50% passing. You still didn't create easy passes for him to get a confidence back, and then under pressure, he doesn't know what to do. And obviously on the headset, you're sitting there talking about, oh, what this drive will be if we're great. But you're not telling the quarterback in situations, hey, we can't take sacks. This is the things you should be. You're trying to glorify something that hadn't even happened yet, instead of talking about the things that need to happen. Which tells me another reason why you shouldn't be the head coach at South Carolina. You're projecting ahead of what we can talk about when we make this drive, instead of saying, hey, these are things we got to make sure we do during this drive, and these are the things we make sure we don't do. I'm no coach, but I've been a manager, and when I tell my guys we need to accomplish certain work, I don't tell them what it's going to be like when we finish with the work. Look how beautiful this house is going to be when we're done. I'm like, no, these are the steps to get to making that house beautiful. When I used to take pictures and send back to my guys and stuff when I go to a project, a lot of the pre-manufactured guys back at the warehouse never got to see that kind of stuff. So I'd send them pictures back at the finished product. Look, be proud of what you did. But I never sent them until we were done. Not in the middle of the project. I didn't glorify it. You know, I doesn't know how to finish the right way. Over and over, the guys are hurt. I made notes. Now, to keep Shane Beamer trying to keep his job, he's already having conversations with players on who's going to return. Now, maybe I'm reading too much into this. Here's what I think he's doing. This is gathering information that he's got to take to Jeremiah Donati at the end of the season and say, look, I know we had a bad season. Here's the players. These guys are saying they're going to stay. We're going to have this kind of team. If you give us one more year, these are all the guys that are going to return. We're going to have a great football team next year. You're already recruiting to take some bullshit to Jeremiah Donati, because we already know that half these players that tell you they're staying ain't going to tell you the truth, just like you don't tell the truth about a lot of shit that you're talking about, Shane Beamer. Do you think these kids are going to sit right here, right now, and tell you to your face that they're returning next year? Yeah, remember Marshawn Lloyd? Didn't happen. How many coaches did you hire that told you they were coming and they were going to work for you, and the next thing, they're all gone? Wasn't that offensive line coach, Mike Bobo? Hell, James. You talk about Mike Fury. James Cooley came in, had a cup of coffee, and hauled ass to Georgia because he knew working for you was going to suck. Man took off to damn Georgia. Didn't even want to work for Shane Beamer. But yet you want to keep trying to hire these Georgia guys too. I don't know. I'm just so tired of the bullshit, the talk. Put it on the field. Nobody wants to hear the talk anymore. You're not selling anything to anyone anymore. You're not recruiting fans anymore. You can't recruit us anymore, dude. It's been 5 years. 5 years we know the bullshit. We've heard the bullshit. You say the same shit over and over. And everybody says, well, what is he supposed to say in a press conference? What are you supposed to say? You're supposed to come up with some answers, not say you don't know why you can't win football games or why you can't close out football games. So I'd say, hey, we're making mistakes here, here, and here. Starts with me, starts with my staff. We got to get our players in better positions. You got to say something. I don't know is not an answer. I don't know for a head coach that makes $8.15 million. It's not an answer. It's not an answer for any CEO. If you go into a board meeting as a CEO and the board starts asking you questions about how you're going to improve this business or why is business down, and your answer is, I don't know, how long do you think you're going to be the CEO of that company? Probably about 5 minutes after that board meeting. Your ass is getting fired. But like I said, people that say you can't come to South Carolina and do something as a coach hasn't paid attention. Because you know, before Dawn Staley and winning a women's basketball national championship, South Carolina had never done it before. But you hired a great coach, you got champions. Before Ray Tanner, South Carolina's baseball team had never won national championships before. It can be done. You just got to find the right person to do it. Does anybody get what I'm saying? South Carolina never have 11 win seasons either until Steve Spurrier did it. So saying just because of what happened in the past, you can't do it in the future is stupid, because if you tell yourself that every morning when you get out of bed, you're an idiot. Well, nothing ever good ever happened to me in my past, so nothing's ever good's going to ever happen to me in the future. If you tell yourself, I'm just going to lay in the bed today, I'm not going to get up and go in the gym, but I want to be in good shape. But because I every time I go to the gym, I just quit. Well, you're never going to get in good shape. I'm just saying, that mentality that just because of things that happened in the past, it can't change in the future, is wrong. You don't tell yourself when you get up in the morning because of your past, I should just stay in the bed today because yesterday was a bad day for me. Yesterday was a bad day for me. I'm just going to stay in the bed today. I'm not going to go out and have a better day today. That's the straight up loser bullshit mentality. There's a lot of things. South Carolina had never been to a SEC championship game in football until Steve Spurrier did it. It can be done. Telling yourself it can't be done, you're just crapping yourself out for that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Ran longer than I wanted to. We got into some subjects, but I'm just over it. I'm burnt out on it. I don't want to hear any more excuses, any more bullshit out of Beamer. You just pissed me off. When I listened to you, I waited. I listened to your press conference. I tried to be patient with it. I tried to make some logical sense out of what you said, but it's all horse garbage, Shane Beamer. Horse garbage. Since you are stuck on horses or something, maybe you're going to get a job working at a horse farm, shoveling shit into a wheelbarrow, which Rooster's done in my lifetime. But I crawled. I crawled to get to where I am. Anyway, love all you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about it, and not just Gamecock fans, all SEC fans, all SEC football fans. Y'all want to talk about other teams? We'll talk about other teams. We'll definitely be talking about other teams in about 3 weeks from now, because South Carolina won't be around to talk about. Anyway, peace, y'all.